Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for a webinar on elevating hospitality experience with the use of autonomous cleaning and service robots. My name is Maxim, and I'm Business Development Manager at Gausium. And Gausium is a world-leading provider of autonomous cleaning and service robots and a sponsor of this webinar. Our speakers today, our first speaker today is Mike Sachak. Mike has been in the professional cleaning industry for over 30 years, working with large, medium, and small cleaning chemical manufacturers, distributors, building service contractors, and in-house clean operations. He now provides consulting services to those looking to improve their cleaning outcomes with insightful, pragmatic solutions. Mike also provides online education courses and coaching to leaders of cleaning operations seeking to comprehensively self-assess their operation as compared to best in class, and then develop an operating-specific plan to improve their results in consistently providing high levels of clean, healthy, and safe at a lower overall cost. During the webinar, Mike will share with us his knowledge on the recent trends and growing demands in the hospitality industry. And our second speaker today will be Peter Questro. Peter Questro is a Global Business Development Director at Gausium with over 34 years of experience in the cleaning and facility management industry. For the last 7 years, Peter specialized in cleaning and service robotics. Today, Peter will be sharing with us his knowledge and experience on how today's business owners and facility managers can catch up with the growing demands and trends in the hospitality industry by deploying autonomous cleaning and service robots. If you will have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box in your Teams control panel, and I'll bring them up at the end of the presentation during our Q&A section. Now, without further ado, I'm passing the microphone to our first speaker, Mike Sachak.
Thank you, Maxime. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I first would like to thank you all for making the time to join us. I'm very confident that you'll learn new things that you could then help improve yourself, your team, as well as your cleaning operation, and most importantly, the experience that your customers will enjoy. What I'll be covering are 5 important and growing trends in the hospitality and as it respects to cleaning. Peter will then follow up with potential solutions that are cost-effective, but more importantly, are going to improve productivity as well as efficiency, effectiveness, and the workloading that's required. What is customer experience? And that's critical for lots of reasons we're going to endure. So at the beginning, you see, it's different than customer service. And that's a very important part, because we'll have a customer service person, customer service department. They are totally different. Customer experience is the interaction and the summation and the of everything. That's your website, your social media marketing, your sales and collateral material that you provide. It's when they get to your facility, what they see, what they experience, and the interaction with your employees. And it's all points in between. It's that each and every one of those contact points, each and every one of those interactions, they're summarized, or they all come together and form their overall customer experience. And it's not just what they read or what they see, it's what they feel. So that is a very important part. It's how they feel, how they perceive your operation. And what we said is that what you tell them is important, but what they see, what they feel is much more important. Moving on. Here's an interesting statistic. Gartner study shows that 89% of the companies surveyed say that the new competitive battlefield is going to be customer experience. Now, if you do not want to be disrupted, if you don't want to be displaced at your facility, your operation, you need to best prepare for this new competitive battlefield. Now, moving on to trend number 1, higher demand for sustainability and green cleaning initiatives. You can see from the statistics there that people are looking for proven sustainability initiatives, as well as they're willing to pay more money for that. they understand and they appreciate that. And a lot of people say, well, Mike, that's not true. They may be saying they're willing to pay more money, but will they really do? And the answer is yes. You just need to be in the world, read about people are looking at ESG reporting, etc. It's a growing demand by your customers, and you need to meet them where they want to be met. So, and the only thing that I would add to this slide is don't forget the low-lying fruit. The low-lying fruit is relatively easy and relatively quick to initiate, and that is using proven, green, certified cleaning chemicals and your consumables, your paper towels, your toilet tissue, hand towels, etc. They work as well or better as well as being cost effective. So the easy low-lying fruit is when you want to move towards sustainability, look at what cleaning chemicals you're using, what consumables you're using, and move to proven, safer ones for people and the environment, which are certified by organizations like EcoLogo, Green Seal, Blue Angel, etc. For those that are even interested in a higher level, have them dual certified with Green Guard, and that's a separate proven impact on indoor air quality. The next trend is the increasing demand for proven, clean, healthy, and safe environments. And there's three distinct things. They want the facility to be clean, and they recognize that if there's no soils or pathogens or lower amounts of that, that makes it healthier for them. And then they also want safe environments. That typically includes slips, trips, and falls. So if they have water lying on the lobby floor or in the area where they have their breakfast in the restaurants, that could cause a slip and trip and fall, and that is no longer a safe environment. So there's growing demand. So people are now very, very obsessed with prove to me your level of clean, healthy, and safe. And as we said earlier on the slide about customer experience, it's not just what you tell them. It's not just what they read in your brochure, read on your website. It's what they see. If they walk into the facility and see dirty floors and dirty carpets, if they see spots and stains, if they see wet marks that haven't been cleaned up, it's how they see your cleaning people doing the cleaning. Are they cleaning correctly? And people could tell if they're using the same cloth to clean table after table after table, or they're using the same cloth to clean the toilet seat and then the faucets. So people, how they see, what they see, how they feel, it will depend on the soil load as well as the smells and animal odors in the facility. The next trend is they want to have evidence-based, transparent, real-time data on the levels of clean. It's related to the second one. It's no longer relevant or enough to say, yeah, we provide a clean facility. They want some proof. And if you could read down to point number 3, what they want is use and reporting of a QA system. And it doesn't matter what that quality assurance system is. It could be using sight and smell with a checklist that says management is employing that, a gel with a black light, or something more sophisticated like ATP swabs and meter reading, or fluorescent imaging, or a combination of all of them. But they want to have some proof that that facility actually has a quality assurance program in place. So it's reporting of it and making it transparent to the public. Point number 4 is also important, recognizing that software is available out there. It could provide better ways to workload the day, the task at hand, track, route the cleaning staff, etc. And then the use of indoor air quality sensors. It's important people have it on their phone. They can say, what's the indoor air quality outside? And more facilities are actually reporting their indoor air quality by measuring it. And these sensors that they could measure total VOCs, particulate matter, CO2, humidity, temperature, all important. And that is what people are looking for. And the last thing on the slide there is cleaning staff and other initiatives are on stage. And that's so important that when they're walking, they see what your cleaning staff are doing or not doing. Are they doing it correctly or not doing it correctly? Are they interacting with the staff? Those are all important parts of evidence-based, transparent, real-time data that shows the levels of clean, healthy, and safe. The next trend, and you're all faced with it, we're all faced with it, it doesn't matter if you're in North America or Europe or Asia, is labor shortage and the high labor costs when you can find them. And there's a statistics there that says that 97% of hotels are understaffed and 49% said they're severely understaffed. Now, what will that mean if you can't find people? If you can't find people to be the servers, to be on your cleaning staff, how will you provide exemplary service to your customers? So this could become a bottleneck or could become a major hurdle for you if you're unable to solve that problem of labor shortage and staff. And the key part there is that you can use technology to assist in offsetting the impact of labor shortages and high labor costs. Moving to the fifth trend, lack of time for a personal touch. Attention for guests to feel the interaction with staff. And as we said, customer experience is different than customer service. So it's not just as they're checking in to the concierge or at the restaurant or the hotel. It's how they feel as they're interacting with the other staff. But if you have staff that are overworked, they are working hard in the rooms, they don't have time. Or maybe they don't have the attitude or the personality to be proactive on the interaction. But it doesn't matter if it's lack of their time, that they're not able to provide a personal touch to their guests, or the fact that they may not have the right personality. Those are issues. It's a major trend anymore. So really what would need to be done is at the bottom, there's 3 points there, is don't hire for experience. I'm looking for a housekeeper. Person says, I got 30 years experience someplace else. How do you know that experience is good? It may all be 30 years of a bad experience. So you really want to hire for attitudes, traits, and personalities, typically ability to learn, desire to learn. They want to actually serve customers, and they have that proactive, ask the guests how they're doing. The other area to consider is moving shifts around. It doesn't all have to start at a particular time. And the point there is you need to meet people where they want to be met. You know, why does it need to be rigid in stone? They must start at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. You show the flexibility. And the last part there is, as a solution, is more effective onboarding and initial training. There's so much statistics have shown that effective onboarding can shorten that learning curve, and it can improve employee retention, and it could actually give better, more effective cleaning and serving of the staff. Those are the 5 key trends as they relate to the hospitality industry and as they relate to cleaning. And we'd like to just quickly cover for you 6 tips for implementing new technologies. And the first point is critical. And Jack Welch, former CEO of GE, said this 20 years ago. And it's a fact that you're all facing today. When the rate of change outside your organization outpaces the rate of change inside your organization, you will soon be displaced. You will soon be disrupted. So technology is here, and you need to use it. The second point leads to that you need to start. You need to start with having the planning, the discussions of what's available, what are your key concerns, what are your key issues that you need to have addressed. Then take small, consistent steps and do your research. And point number 4 is that review different technologies. But remember that all technologies are not the same, and all products within a technology is not the same. So if you're looking at robotics for cleaning or robotics for serving, that's a great technology. But remember that not all robots are created equal, are equal, or that have the same cost of use over their lifetime. So review each technology. Implement what's required. Don't implement for the sake of implementing, saying that these are my key issues, problems, concerns. That's what I'm implementing to resolve them. And then at the end of the day, make sure you are using a very relevant KPIs to track during your review and research, as well as after implementation. So what I'd like to now do is turn it over to Peter, who will provide an overview of potential solutions to address the 5 trends that we covered. Peter?
Well, thank you, Mike. This was very impressive. Thank you for all the information and pointing out the pain points in the hospitality industry today. And I will try in the next 15 minutes to give some solutions based on autonomous service to elevate, the guest experience. So let me just continue. So minimizing the environmental impact of cleaning by deploying sustainable robotic solutions. For this, sustainability aspects of hospitality are a strong demand from guests. How can robots add value to this need? One of them is robots like the Scrub 50P have a 4-stage water recycling system that allow water to be used for two or three times before draining it. You can save a lot of water with that. Or the artificial intelligence ability used on robots like the Fantas or the Script 50P with a unique patrolling spot cleaning mode. This spot cleaning mode means that you don't have to clean everything all time you want to clean. You can only concentrate on the spots. The robot is so smart nowadays, it can recognize spots, it can recognize debris. Based on deep learning, we learned it for thousands and thousands of pictures. It can recognize what is to clean and what is not to clean. So it can reduce the amount of energy, chemicals, water and consumables, plus even the frequency of maintenance to a substantial minimum up to 80%. So it really adds something. This new gen robotics works smarter, not harder. They calculate the most efficient path with the lowest use of energy and carbon emission. Efficiency improvements can be made up to 400%. And there's more. Autonomous cleaning solutions to meet higher standards of cleanliness. Guest motivations and expectations changing during the pandemic and still are going on. A little bit less than they were, but still people want to have a very clean environment. Because we're now with 8 million people on this earth and the population is also getting grayer, so we are more vulnerable for pandemics, so the need is still there. The number of guests that are willing to pay hospitality companies extra for offering and options focusing on sanitary and safe environments is much higher today because of this. By consistently dust mopping, sweeping, scrubbing and sanitizing the areas, autonomous cleaning machines can significantly elevate the overall cleanliness and hygiene of hotels and restaurants. The process of new gen robotics can make cleanliness even more thorough. Autonomous solutions can clean with zero distance to the skirting boards with side brushes and high-precision sensors from wall to wall, picking up fine dust and debris effortlessly. And the next is providing transparency on cleanliness with autonomous solutions. How can we do that? Well, as mentioned above, people are getting more and more aware and concerned about the hygiene and cleanliness of the environmental around them. Modern autonomous cleaning machines easily navigate through dynamic layouts, avoiding static and moving objects, and providing thorough cleaning, which allows them to clean the areas while people are around. This is a huge change if you look back 7 years ago, the first robots that are out there and the robots that are out there today. There's enormous evaluation, and robots are much more developed on this kind of things. Autonomous vacuum or silent dust mopping without any noise throughout the day, providing transparency on cleanliness and hygiene to the guests and visitors and elevate the overall hospitality experience. As a bonus, they can also vaporize a natural scent based on EcoCert certified essential oils to level up the overall experience, like in hotels with aromatherapy. Of course, this is only a choice. And then, of course, a very important one, also mentioned by the pain point by Mike. Automation to enhance productivity and battle the ongoing labor shortage. We all know, if not, then we really should now be aware that the working age population is not keeping pace with the growth in older population. If you can see on this statistic here on the right, the working population between 15 and 65 is rapidly declining. It's, of course, a happy problem. We live longer, getting older. We're not getting, only 70 or 80. We're getting 85. We're getting 90 or 105. But with this comes serious consequences for the hospitality sectors and other sectors as well. Autonomous solutions like serving robots to help waiters and waitresses in restaurants and our cleaning robots in hotels can solve part of the puzzle. Not everything, but can solve part of the puzzle. Besides this, the price increase of housekeeping and cleaning staff internationally increased on average between 5 to 10%, while productivity reduced from 4% to 0.3%. So we became less productive, although all the automatization. It's a paradox, but it's true. So, robots can hit 3 birds with 1 stone. They can cut the cost of cleanliness. They can, partly solve the problem of lack of labor force, and they can solve part of the problem of lack of productivity and make you more efficient without working harder or having more stress. And of course, in changing employee experience and engagement with new technologies. Like you see here on this picture, this is a happy man, of course. Now look at him, when he has a helper behind him that can do the heavy load work for him. Autonomous cleaning and delivery solutions help business owners to allow their workers to focus on more engagement and fulfilling tasks, like interaction with guests, which is more important, instead of spending their time on tedious and time-intensive tasks of floor cleaning or delivery. By freeing up valuable time for employees, robots for hospitality help provide and enhance job satisfaction and worker motivation, which can directly translate to greater work engagement and productivity among your team. And finally, how to increase the return on investment in hospitality with autonomous service solutions is a question that might pop up. And of course, this is a very important question because we all know a lot of things, go around money. And we like to see the return on investment. Well, the good news is, if, for example, when a daily 1,000 square meters are cleaned, vacuumed and scrubbed and dried with one single robot, the return on investment can be as short as 4 months. In small and in bigger places. So not only the bigger places are interesting for robotic solutions today, also the smaller places are really interested now because of the robots has a new generation. Not only costs are saved, efficiency and productivity are improved, and the quality of cleanliness will also be more consistent and higher. Something you can never reach by getting more and more hours, because more hours manual cleaning means more money. The staff you have now will be very pleased with this, to be released of the dull, tedious tasks and repetitive handlings, having a more meaningful job with less physical complaints. Business owners will have less HR and management costs, searching staff, training or replacing unhappy staff that left because of the heavy workload. So overall, the robotics technologies in the hospital industry comes to this. Autonomous service solutions like robotics floor cleaning and delivery robots are a new technology, helping already thousands of companies to reduce the increased operational cleaning costs while improving competitive differentiation, guest appreciation and staff productivity. Hospitality owners need to catch up and adapt the possibilities of the current automation and robotic technologies to manage, change, and reassure and upskill housekeeping, cleaning, and catering staff to provide them tools to work more efficient together with robots. Or to say differently, there's no time to waste, there's only time to win. For taking the first step or the next step for working with robots in hospitality and manage your overall operational costs. A lot of talking. So let's now see a nice a short video to see what we're actually talking about. I will reduce the sound a little bit. I can tell you this is a vacuum that can vacuum hard floors, carpet floors, and also the robots of today. I mean, this robot specifically can go with the elevator. It can clean carpets, design carpets in every situation, or mats like this one here. It can also do dust mopping like you see right here on a hard, shiny floor. And it can go by the elevator by itself, autonomously. It takes the elevator, go up and go down. It cleans directly 2 corners, and you can have your own avatar to make it look like your own hotel or your own business column. So this is just a glimpse of what's possible, of course. So I now like to give the word back to Maxim.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing your points, and thank you, Peter, for sharing us the solutions on all of those pain points that are happening right now at the hospitality industry. It was very interesting to learn about service solutions to fight those pain points. And now, for everyone, I want to announce one more time that we are moving to our Q&A section. So please find the chat box and leave your questions there, and our speakers will answer them. And while we are waiting for the questions from our audience, I have one question from myself. Let me find it. Peter, we welcome the innovative power and this next level of cleaning robots. However, are you not afraid it will take jobs from people?
Well, thank you for this question, Maxim. Of course, this can be a sentiment that you hear now and then, but when people really realize that this is only a super tool that makes them more productive and more efficient, it will never take a job because we will never, we're never out there to replace people. We are there to make people actually doing their job more easier, efficiently, and with more productivity. So we're helping them. And like I explained in the presentation, it's not only productivity and efficiency, it's only to fill in the lack of labor because we don't have enough cleaners in most part of the world today. It's very hard to get cleaning staff and housekeeping staff. And for another thing, of course, is to reduce the cost. So the people that are now working, the cleaners and housekeeping staff that are now working for hotels, can stay on doing their jobs because we have an automation solution. Like a carpenter uses his electrical saw to be more productive, you should see the robots actually the same. They make them more efficient. By the way, I have a question for Mike, if I may so, while people are forming their questions on the chat box. Mike, I have a question for you. You just mentioned indoor air quality. We all know carpets are a big collector of fine dust and other small debris and bacteria. So how much positive impact will autonomous vacuum cleaners with HEPA exhaust filter have, like the Fantas? Considering we now can go back from daily tipping vacuuming to plinth vacuuming with a robot that can do that on a daily basis. What is your opinion about that?
Great question, Peter. Thank you. And I see we got 3 other great questions from the audience. So I'll be brief with my answer. Indoor air quality is very important today and is growing in awareness throughout the world. Floors, as well as the carpets, as you mentioned, are typically the largest reservoir of soils and pathogens in any facility. There's typically more pathogens on the floor carpet than there are in toilet seats, on flush handles, etc. And what is on the floor or what's on the carpet eventually does become airborne. So the point is, if you're able to now use robotics to be cleaning more effectively, 24/7 if required, what you end up doing is providing a cleaner, safer, healthier facility overall, not only on surfaces, but also the indoor air quality.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Maxine, can you see the questions?
Yes, we do have some questions. And let's start with a question from Matthew. He's concerned about the noise that those robots provide. And he's asking which robot mops in silence. And he finds all of them quite noisy.
Okay, but perhaps he did not see the robots in real action, because then he would have known. But I will tell you, because it's hard to show you right now, of course. But actually, the 3 robots that you can see here on the screen are all very silent, and they can all have a silent mode. So all of them have the opportunity to, without any noise, dust mop hard floors. Of course, when you're doing vacuum and cleaning, you always have a very low noise vacuum motor, but this is totally integrated into the inner side of the machine, of the robots, and make a very low noise compared to the to the average Hoover or average vacuum cleaner. So all robots you see here on the right can have a silent mode with dust mopping on hard floors. But of course, if you really want to test it out, I would almost say get one of our experts and ask for a demonstration.
Thank you, Peter, for your answer, and Matthew, thank you as well for your question. It was very interesting. And the next one is about actually elevator integration. And Julianne, she's concerned about what current brands support elevator integration for Gausium robots specifically.
Well, thank you for the question. It's a very good question, very actual question. I have to give this answer in two ways. First of all, what would be ideal is to have elevators with cloud connectivity. So the software, so to speak, on the robots is already totally ready, and the software on several elevators, like from Kone, are also totally ready. Only some servers are not ready because of all kinds of international certifications and laws and restrictions. But the good news is we have also 2 alternatives to connect the robot to any elevator brand today. We call this LoRa. I will not go too specific or too technically, but see it as a sender and receiver device that we can put on the robot and on the elevator. So it can open, in fact, every elevator door. At least the elevator should not be older than, let's say, 20, 30 years old. because some of the very old elevators can be a problem. But most of the robots can connect with them. And if you want to be sure, then sorry for the same answer, but then we should really have an expert of our local experts looking at your elevator and contact your elevator manufacturer to see what is possible or what is not possible. But there is a lot possible today.
Thank you, Peter. Also, thank you for Jenny Savella. She has a question, but that one is related to a specific region. So, Jenny, we will get in touch with you individually, and we will update you on the current situation on that question. And right now, let's move to the next question from Faisal. Thank you very much for your question, Faisal. He's asking, is it self-cleaning itself?
That's a very good question. I wish it was. I wish it was. I really wish it was, because that would solve another problem. So first of all, a cleaning robot is nothing else than a cleaning machine, when we talk about cleaning machines, that can do autonomous cleaning. So it's just like every other machine, you have to clean it after you have used it. So instead of walking 2.5 hours behind the machine, and then clean the machine for 10 minutes, which you should do every day for every machine, you now only have to do the cleaning yourself. But we have some new features, especially on the Fantas, will come halfway next year. We have an ability to clean the wastewater tank more thoroughly than we do right now. But still, you have to look after this autonomous machine, because everybody can imagine if an autonomous machine goes out there for 2 hours or 3 hours cleaning and then comes back, there might be some debris and some stuff you don't want to see on the squeegees and the brushes that you have to remove. So it's still, of course, first of all, a cleaning machine, and secondly, it's of course an autonomous robot. So cleaning is, still mandatory to do on a daily basis to keep your robot in very good shape. But thank you for the question.
Thank you, Peter, for the answer. I also have my question for Mike. Mike, I wanted to know, do you think that the demand for proven cleaner and healthier facilities will continue, or will the awareness and demand subside as we move out of the COVID pandemic? What is your opinion on that?
Thank you, Maxime. Another great question. I hope, but I truly believe that it's going to continue to grow in awareness and grow in an importance worldwide. And the reasons for that are one is there's more communications. If you just look at social media, groups, etc., they're talking about the hazards of ineffective cleaning. There's a difference between cleaning properly or cleaning effectively and polluting. And a lot of cleaning operations are not cleaning effectively. They're actually polluting. They're moving soils from corner to corner, corner to corner. The second area is that there are cleaning operations that have upped their game. They are becoming best in class, and they have evidence-based data to prove it. So it's creating this point of differentiation. Someone says, now I can see effective cleaning and, theatrics for cleaning. So they're able to have proven clean, safe, healthy facilities. The last key ingredient, I think, is going to impact the continued growth and awareness of effective cleaning is the fourth industrial revolution. We're hearing more and more that we're moving into the fourth industrial revolution, where you're going to have these areas of blockchain and 5G capability and artificial intelligence and machine learning, augmented learning, etc. It's just going to change the way facilities are managed, and with that, with the convergence of these different technologies coming together, it's going to mean there's going to be a greater focus on customer experience, let it be in a hotel, restaurant, or office building, by using those technologies, as well as employee experience. So yet, again, repeating, it's going to grow in importance and awareness. Thanks, Maxime.
Thank you, Mike, for your answer. And now we have another question regarding to our robots from Cools Yen. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So he is asking, are the sensors of the robots scanning the floors to ensure lower objects, such as room service trays, are not obstructing the robots?
Exactly. Very good question again. Sorry for this, my throat. Yes, our robots are full with sensors, actually. So we did not, step back on sensor technology. Actually, we actually have so many sensors and so many abilities to do everything that the robots are riding around in an environment that is very dynamic, and there even are threads on the floor and little objects, it will see it. So it will never touch it or run over it. It will always, go aside it and avoid it. And also, this is based on partly of artificial intelligence. The robot can recognize the type of floor. For example, the Ventus can do this. And it can also recognize the debris. So it can recognize, let's say, an empty cup of coffee and the coffee. So if it's on scrubbing mode, then it will scrub away the coffee, and it will not scrub, of course, the cup. It will nicely, as a razor blade, it will go around the cup, but it will remove the coffee that's on the floor. And of course, I have to tell you this is a little bit, very new. So this is only there for, let's say, half a year in this industry. And actually, at this moment, we're the only one that have this ability. So if you want to try to find a robot that can do this, I'm sorry to have to tell you, then there's only two choices at the moment. Then you have the Ventus and you have the 50p that you see here on the screen, the ones that are both in front. They are able to do this because we have integrated artificial intelligence, and this is new for the cleaning industry.
Great, thank you, Peter, for your answer. And we got one more question from Faisal, also very specific and technical. He's asking, does it have self-diagnose system for any malfunctions? And then he also interested about the batteries. He's asking, does it tell about batteries life and when is the next change? And will it work in dark places without any light? So there are quite a few specific questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's start with the first one. Can it do self-diagnose?
Yes. So to speak, our software, our algorithms are self-learning. So when the robot is used for several times, it's getting smarter and smarter. But it will also not only record this, so we can look at this back, and you can look at this back, but it also will give you information. So it will give you information, for example, if we just discussed this cup that's on the floor, if we cannot remove it, or it cannot remove it, and it will give you a push message on your smartphone or your tablet that it's there and where it is. So it's very, very self-learning and giving you the information and even interactive. And the question about lighting, the robots can work in pitch dark, because they don't really need the lights, and the robot that needs the light for using the artificial intelligence modus will have some orientation lights on them, like the Ventus, so we can light up the place that's on the floor. But for navigation, the robots don't need actually any light, because this is based on sensor technology and LiDAR and other sensors that can, infrared sensors that can see into the dark. Yeah. I missed one question, I guess.
So it was about the battery life.
Sorry. Yes, there was a battery life. Well, the robot is in a way is programmed that when the battery life is less than 50%, it will return to its base station. So most of these robots you see here, or actually all of them, have the ability to have a charging station or even a full working station, and then it will go back autonomously by itself to this station to load its battery and go back. So in fact, this kind of robots can be working 24/7, although it has, of course, to charge the batteries in the time that the batteries are empty. But you don't have to worry that your robot is standing somewhere in your building with an empty battery. So it will manage it by itself and go back and recharge, and then, when it's recharged, it will automatically go back to the spot where it's left cleaning and continues the cleaning. This is one of the special features we have. We call this real-time auto cover, that the robot can do this and remind where it was stopped and where it has to resume again.
Great. Thank you, Peter, for your answer, and thank you, Faisal, for his questions. Meanwhile, I want to say that we just put in the chat box the links to Mike's LinkedIn page and to his website. Also, I put the Peter Questro LinkedIn page link and website. And of course, if you want to learn more and get in touch with our specialist individually, just fill in a contact form. And we also left the link at Gausium contact form, so you can find it there. So just fill in the form and we'll get in touch with you shortly. And let's move to one more question from Matthew. He's saying it's a big benefit to get data and even an API to integrate it to our database. And he's asking, can you explain how this data is kept and protected?
Well, that's a good question and also a very actual question. Of course, I would almost say because we know that we have to do this and we're doing this. This is called GDPR or AVG, depending on the place on the globe where you are. And all our robots are GDPR protected. So we have specially data protection and privacy protection software on board. So nobody has to worry about this. That's keeping data or it doesn't store any videos or any pictures at all. It only collects data if you allow us to do that, and it will be sent to you alone or to us if you allow us to look at it. And that will only be technical data that we can see what the robot did, and of course you will get an instant report of what the robot has done. And this is tested by TÜV Süd, is a German institution that is together with SGS. They tested our robot and they made a 24-page GDPR a certification test or penetration test, I have to say, to see how safe the robots are and that we cannot have hackers have access to one of our robots. So we are totally aware of this. In fact, we have 6 persons, full-time persons, working constantly on improving and testing, the data security and the personality security on our robots. So this is a very serious topic inside Gausium Robotics, but we take very seriously, and we are constantly updating to keep it safe for everybody.
Maxime,
Yes.
I'd like to take that question and pass it over to Peter from Cools. The question is, as hospitality is still a service-oriented industry and a personal touch is still appreciated by guests, do you deem the industry, the guests, ready to have robots rather than a personal touch? I'll take my first stab and let Peter have his thing. But from a customer experience, the answer is no. It's more than ready. I've seen robots in venues like arenas and airports, and it's the exact opposite. It creates a tension. People are saying, listen, now I see what this facility is doing. They're showing, you're demonstrating this investment in that I am important as a guest, that they are investing in that type of technology to provide highest level of clean, healthy, and safe. Second of all, as Peter said, the robots do not outplace people. It's not one or the other. You have both of them. So now you have your robots doing up and down the hallways of the hotel or in the lobby. You still have your cleaning staff that are able to, one, have the time to personally greet, have a genuine, sincere conversation with the customer. Hi. Is there anything else that we need to clean for you? Are you liking the level of service, etc.? So you actually are freeing up valuable time instead of doing those monotonous, tedious, ergonomically non-friendly tasks by walking or mopping a floor, walking behind a scrubber, mopping a floor, pushing a vacuum cleaner. They now can do those higher value add cleaning. So the people are going to see, man, they're cleaning this. They clean those handrails. They clean those push buttons, etc., while the robot is doing additional cleaning. So it's going to be more than well received by the general public. Peter, your thoughts?
Well, there's not much to add to that, Mike. Perhaps I can give a very simple example. I already touched this example once, but I give it often if I don't have much time to explain all the benefits. I say, think about a carpenter that is doing his carpenter job for 25 years, is a real craftsman, and then suddenly I give this carpenter, an electrical saw. Well, the first 3 doors he's going to make that week, I don't want to buy from him because he wants to, he has to, get the skills. So how do I work with the electrical saw? But once he gets it, then he cannot make 1 door a week, but he can make 2 or 3 doors a week. And then, the doors will be more attractive for me to buy from him because the price will be lower, but the quality will not be less. The quality be the same or even better because now it's very, very straight. So you have to look at the robots as a super tool to make you more efficient, to make you more productive. And it was never the intention or never meant to, exchange or to get rid of cleaners. No, it's the opposite. The robots are here to help the cleaners and to help business owners to have, happy cleaners and to, get them away from the stressful, long-lasting and dull, repetitive tasks, just like you just said. So that's, I think, most important to explain.
Well, the other thing, Peter, it does improve the productivity, the effectiveness, the efficiency, as you mentioned. It will lower your overall cost of cleaning so you could actually apply that labor. But the other key thing is consistency.
Yes,
The robot is going
consistency.
to
Yeah,
clean
yeah.
consistent day after day after day. It's not a matter of which cleaner do I have in, did they show up, what time did they start, did they have other tasks, or did I not have a cleaner that particular day. So consistency is very important, especially for providing good exemplary overall customer experience, and in particular if there's multiple locations. So if they go to Hotel 1, Hotel 2, they all could have a greater level of consistency from location to location. That is also important, not just the lowering overall costs, improving productivity, effectiveness, etc.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it's funny that you mentioned this because when I was starting to sell robots about 7 years ago, one of the first customers that had a robot to test a robot, it was the first feedback we get back from this customer. It was not about the cleanliness, it was not about all the abilities and the high tech that was on board. No, it was about the consistency. Because you cannot ask the consistency of a human that a robot can give to you. Because the robot does exactly what you're addressing him to do for you, and it does this every time, the same time, and the same way. And it can even is so smart that if something is there, an obstacle, like there's a car there, or people are standing there, or there's a pallet, like in a warehouse, it will simply go around it. But in our case, it will also go back to it and clean the spot that was not cleaned before it returns to his station. So yes, consistency and even more smart technology that added onto this makes a robot a very, very nice asset and a very good assistant to the cleaners. So that's why I also love to call it, especially the new one, a co-assistant instead of a cobot, because this goes to the next level. This is the new generation of robotics. And if you didn't see them before or never experienced them before, I would almost say, invite people to come with a robot and to show you what they can do today. And for some reasons that you're not going to see right now, perhaps from this webinar, but you will be surprised because there's much more to show and to tell than we can do in 50 minutes. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Peter, for answering to this question as well. And we have one more technical question. And the question sounds like, how much square meter SC50 and Fentis can clean with one tank?
With one tank? Well, that's a good question. But also, well, it depends, of course, first of all, on the building and the path the robot has to do. Because if there's a lot of curves and a lot of turning around for the robot, like with a normal machine, then you use more water. But the good thing is that the water, like for the 50p, the one in the middle there, has a full water working station. This means that if the tank is empty from the robot, it can reuse its water twice because there is a recycle system inboard, also to save fresh drinking water. So the robot does not have to go back and forward to get fresh water. But if this is not possible somehow or not wanted, like in a hospital where they don't really like to have the recycled water, because recycled water means that it's not 100% clean, of course, then it will go back and forward to this working station, and the fresh water will be reloaded, the drain water will be drained, and the water and the machine has fresh water again. So it's a matter of minutes, then it will return, and it can continue its task. So it can do this for actually like 24/7. So the question, how big is the tank? That was, of course, the way we looked at machines before the robots were there, before the working stations were there. This is one of the things, so thank you for the question, what is actually totally changed. It's now less important because the robot can take their own water and go back and forward to get it.
Maxime, I'll take that question that came up from Fred. Looks like he's in New York, New Jersey, North American area. Question being, in this area, New York, New Jersey, area buildings are concerned with how to get the unions to allow for the use of robotics, since the unions want to add human labor and not lose any labor for any reasons. And that's a great question, and there's a couple of different ways to answer that, at least that I do. Is number one, as I've said, as Peter said, robots are not there to displace or to remove the human side. It's not there to reduce the labor count. If anything, it's there to increase labor count if it's done correctly. The point is if you have a facility that is not properly clean, let it be a restaurant or a hotel or whatever, eventually the customer experience that we talked about, they're going to say, you know what? And we saw the statistics earlier in the trends. People will choose a different location. So if that facility is not being cleaned, we don't have to worry about adding one robot. It's a matter that we may be closing down business or reducing the size of business. So the robots are not there to reduce labor. It's actually there to maintain or to increase labor. Second key point is, as Peter said, it adds to the person. It's very monotonous to be riding behind walking behind or riding an auto scrubber or by a string mop or a flat mop system. So you're removing those monotonous tasks or those tasks that are ergonomically may not be that friendly, and you're giving the employees a better quality of work life. So the union should embrace, we're actually trading up and giving our employees that better development. The other thing is that the union dues. I saw facilities that will say, okay, we understand, we appreciate the fact that we're adding this, we'll pay the union dues for it. So you just build that into your cost of the operation. We added one robot, and they're going to pay their monthly union dues, etc. So there's more ways or more benefits to the union and to the members of the union if it's clearly articulated to them what's in it for them, and that's really where it needs to start. There's so many benefits to the unionized staff. It's just that they may not be seeing it, and it'll be your job or Peter's job or someone's job to convince them that they have more to win than they have to lose.
Yeah, even actually every union everywhere at the globe should actually embrace this technology. I can give a last sample of this. Technology over the last 100 years almost always created much more job than there ever was before. So technology is the biggest job creator of the world. I give a very small example. In North America, McKinsey did this investigation. It was not my imagination, and they found out that about 18 million people, had new jobs when the personal computer was, coming to the market. We can now not imagine a world without it, but when it was introduced, 18 million people got a new job. But at the same time, because of the technology that came in that time, 3.5 million people lost their job. I mean, not the job because they were sent home or something. No, it's the content of that job, the way they do their job. So how do you do my job? Well, 3.5 million had to change how to do their job. But on average, on balance, over 15 million people had a new job. So whoever dares to say that technology doesn't, stealing jobs, it's the opposite. Technology always brings new jobs. And also for this, of course, the content will change. The content, how you clean today, will absolutely change. You use a new skill. And the new skill or the new cleaning technology that you're learning is called cleaning robotics. And of course, you first have to get to know the robotics, have to find them out, have to test them, like Mike also said in his presentation, and then you have the knowledge. So that's why I say it's no time to waste, only time to win. Because with robotics, and the sooner you get to know what they can do and what they are not can do, the better you get, experience with using robotics in your daily cleaning and for your housekeeping, etc. And that's actually the real truth. So technology gives a lot of new jobs, perhaps even too much, because now we have a lack of labor force. And nobody is really waiting for a job that is very tedious and long-lasting and dull if he or she can have a job that has more meaningful content. And an operator of a robot will have another job than there was until 2 years ago when this kind of robot did not exist. So it's actually also lifting up, your job and the skills you need for your job. Everybody, in fact, should be happy that robots are here to help us, and they will never, take away any job. It's the opposite. No.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Peter, for answering this question. And now I think we can get back to our technical questions, because Faisal is asking one more technical question. He's asking about how many units the software can control simultaneously.
How many units? Okay, I get the question. Well, mostly this kind of questions I get from people that are working with, AVGs, so automated guided vehicles. in warehouses and in e-commerce businesses, because they are connected with each other. So if we have an AGV, it's a robot you use in a warehouse. You have seen the pictures and images perhaps, or movies from places like with Amazon, where they lose a lot of of robots like this. They have to be able to communicate with each other, or like a swarm, they call this. Well, with our cleaning robots, there are actually totally different kind of algorithms. They're totally standalone, autonomous cleaning ability they have. So they don't need any guidance in the floor. They don't need to have recognition with other robots. They can totally work alone by themselves, and we don't have to connect them with the other robots. Of course, if you have a big place where you want to connect them, this is perhaps something we could develop in the future. But until now, it was not needed to do this with our kind of robots, because it's a totally different technology with different sensor technology added to it, and the robots never clean in the same place. Or perhaps if you want to do this, let's say you can have a vacuum 40, which is your vacuum cleaner, going first, and after that you have the script 50 to do the wet cleaning afterwards. Then of course they are in the same place, but you can have some 2 or 3 minutes in between them, so they will not pass each other. But if they would pass each other, that's no problem, because they will not bump into each other. They will give each other space, and it's not needed to secure this, because it's already secured. It's embedded in the algorithms and in the software.
Thank you, Peter, for answering this question. And I see we have some more questions, and I see Philip is helping us to answer them in the comments. Thank you, Peter, for that. Like I mentioned before, we will collect all the questions, and we will also answer them if you don't have time right now. And by the way, we need to finish quite soon. So don't worry, if we don't have time to answer some of them, those questions we will forward to you along with the PPT for this webinar. And let's end up this webinar with our final question. I would like to address it to Mike. It comes from Gabriela. Today, where there is more awareness and demand for good indoor air quality, how can robotic auto scrubbers and vacuums contribute?
Thank you. It's a question that was similar question was asked by Peter earlier. The point is that the largest reservoir in a facility are your floors and carpets. So if you're now able to use robotics, cleaning the floors or cleaning the carpets, what they're going to do is remove those soils, remove those pathogens from those surfaces, because as you know, the soils that are on the floors or on the carpets eventually become airborne. So they actually have a very positive impact on improving the indoor air quality in a facility.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Peter. I think we can end up it here. And I would also like to say thank you to everyone for joining this webinar. And like we're going to post it one more time in the chat box, the links to Mike's accounts on LinkedIn, to his website, and to Peter's as well. And I would also like to mention that this webinar was provided to you by Gausium, the world leading provider of autonomous cleaning and service robots. If you are interested to learn more about Gausium's autonomous solutions or how to become our partner, we are also adding a link to our contact form. And once you fill it in, we will get in touch with you shortly. Thanks again for joining us today. We will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank everybody. Goodbye.